Well, welcome everyone. It's so great to have you guys here. Thank you for coming and spending your time with us. And like the title of this panel says, the gang's all here. This is kind of a reunion. Kim Coates tells me that you guys have a lot of camaraderie on set. I was wondering if we could just throw that out there and see if you have any stories that you want to share with us about that.
First of all, Kim Coates is a liar, and a thief, and a terrible human being.
Well, that sums it up.
Especially that terrible human being part.
And he's from Saskatchewan.
We spent 8 years together on that show. We shot in LA where most of us lived, and it was great. It was like we got in a sort of really TV tough guy way to sort of experience what it is to be a fake motorcycle club for 8 years, and it was beautiful and great. Like we got to ride around and pretend and not actually get shot at. So it was sort of the best of both worlds.
For me, it was a brotherhood. It really was. So it's so good. Sometimes we want to see each other for a year or two. When we get together, it's like we don't miss a beat. So yeah, it's been a brotherhood for me, brother. Love these guys, man. I really do.
Are there any moments that stand out where that brotherhood really sort of shone?
Were they what?
Were those moments of brotherhood, was there anyone that stands out in your mind?
Too many questions. Too many. What stands out for me is that they care for each other, generally care for each other, man. Even now, we have some friends that are sick, or maybe not feeling too well, and you know what? We got Charlie and Hunnam calling everybody up, hey man, we gotta get together, man, hang out a little bit, and that's a beautiful thing, man, you dig? Yeah. That's brother, that's a good brother right there, man. Love that.
Yeah,
love that. Lifelong brotherhood.
I'm thinking about that moment when we rode up to John's house. Just like wild experiences that we had together. I've been asked a lot the last couple of days if I still ride. And I pushed it for that show. Pretty much all of us were beyond the first season, not so much necessarily all the way through the first season, but from the second season on. Basically all of us rode exclusively. Like we really did think we were like a little motorcycle club. It's kind of sweet, kind of embarrassing in hindsight, but we would ride all the time, and I, at the end of it, just kind of got the feel, I felt like I'd gotten away with a lot. Like, it's kind of a little silly the way I'd ride at 100 miles an hour everywhere I went for about 8 years. So I had put the bike down for the last few years. I got a little voice in the back of my head that said, you got away with a lot, maybe you want to chill out for a couple of years. But remember that ride, we were riding back once from Santa Ynez. We'd ridden 150 miles north and 150 miles back. And we were literally just one freeway exit away from where we were getting off the freeway. So we'd gone all the way over to the right-hand lane. And there was 2 cars pinched. You can split lanes in California. No, I don't know if you can do that here. But they were pinched up, and then there was a semi-lorry on this side. And I was in here, just totally owned that lane. Ryan was behind me. And then out of the corner of my eye, a white Lexus was entering the freeway at speed, brand new, not even any plates on it. And I just, out of the corner of my eye, I'm like, wow, they're coming in hot into my real estate here, like, what are they doing? So I turn around, I give them a little Jack's towel, like, there was nobody in the driver's seat. This lady had dropped her phone or her handbag or something, and merging onto the freeway 70 miles an hour, had bent over all the way into the passenger seat to retrieve whatever she'd lost, and was coming right in to the freeway into my lane to kill me. And I went, no, lady, you might be nice, but not today. So I had a second to think, and I was pretty good on a bike, but I'd never been in this situation. I said, all right, we gotta take the offensive.
Yeah.
So we just rode. I just smashed my bike into the side of her car, and Ryan was right behind me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I managed to stay up, and I was, still going like pretty fast, and stayed up. It was miraculous. And then when I hit the car, my bike sort of the back wheel.
Yeah, your front peg went into their wheel well, and it swung the bars.
So I went all the way up. I was like, oh, okay, oh, wow, we're still alive. That was miraculous. And then I went, oh, I can't feel the peg.
Yeah.
I must have ripped my foot off.
Yeah.
And I looked down, and my foot was still there, the peg was gone. And I went, all right. And so then we got through that, and Ryan was like, I don't know if we should keep riding all the time. And I went, about 18 months later, I went, you know that conversation we had? I think you might be right. So you pretty much, like, you took it easy towards the last couple of years, right, on the bikes, like you said, and then, like, I maintained it right until we finished, and then.
I still remember that. I remember that exactly. I just remember, like.
We went into John's house.
Yeah, we went to John's house. Yeah, it was on the way back, and then I just remember us like screaming down, like, you know, we're splitting lanes, and then I see you kind of go, what? And I was like, oh, he's going over, and I like slammed on my brakes, and then you somehow like, you know, whiskey throttled it out of there, and I was just like, oh my God, he made it.
Oh, he actually can ride.
Yeah. I have another funny story. I remember you and I were riding, we were on PCH. You remember this one? We were riding on PCH, it was like a Sunday or something, and we were just, you know, fucking around. And we were riding up the coast, and then we pull up to this stoplight. I always remember this. We pull up to this stoplight, and there's these two young kids. They couldn't have been like 18 or 19. And they were essentially like cosplaying. There was a guy with white sneakers on. He had his cut on, his blonde hair. There was his buddy who had a beard, who was a little chubbier, who was right next to him, who had a cut on, and they had these brand new Harleys, and they were taking them out. And Charlie and I used to wear, you know, handkerchiefs over our faces, you know, because we would ride so fast, you don't want to get shit in your face. So we pull up to this stoplight, and we look over at these kids who are obviously dressed just like us. Charlie looks right back at me, and I was just like this. And then the kids kind of like look over at us, and they're like, run. Oh, really? And we both went like this, and they were like, gave a good story.
Okay, so what about the moments when you're all together and you're in a restaurant or something like that? Do you ever get people coming up to you and like trying to just, you know, intimidate you or out-tough guy you or anything?
No, it's more like the other way around. You ever see the Blues Brothers? You ever see the Blues Brothers when they go into the fancy restaurant and they're like, hey, how much for the women? Your wife, your little girl, I want to buy them. That's what we feel like all the time.
Except without trying to buy women.
Yeah.
Just want them to think that.
Right. It's more of the orange whip part.
Orange whip?
Yeah.
3 orange whips.
That's classic.
Nobody? Wow.
Guys, go watch the Blues.
Everyone, homework assignment. Watch the Blues Brothers.
There you go. That was John.
Yep, that's right.
And Harry Fisher, can't forget her. Okay, so I gotta ask this: when you prepared for this show, what was your interaction with biker gangs? Like, did you actually go out and talk to them?
I think you're referring to motorcycle clubs.
We all had to kill somebody. It's part of the audition.
No, we had an amazing producer called John Linson, who's kind of like a, you know, the term method, where you just have to live the thing to be it, you know. We're usually an actor. He's like a method producer. He finds these worlds that he gets excited about and just goes and puts himself in that world until he feels like he understands it well enough to go and then make a TV show or film about it. And so we had an amazing entry point into the world of outlaw motorcycle clubs through John Linson, you know, in the sort of Bay Area of California, San Francisco, Oakland area. So yeah, we were very fortunate that we got to sort of interact with some of the guys. And in particular, you know, it's an interesting thing. I mean, obviously, culturally, America's and Canada's really different everywhere you go, and that's reflected in motorcycle culture. I know I get a lot of, static about wearing white sneakers in the show because apparently bikers don't wear white sneakers. In California they do. And so I had an absolutely beautiful interaction with a kid called Chill Will, who is a prospect for a very well-known motorcycle club, the most well-known motorcycle club, and his dad was the longest living member of that motorcycle club. I met him when he was 18, and he'd had every one of his birthday parties in the clubhouse. You know, he was the heir apparent, he was going to take over this club. And I spent 4 days with him, you know, Chill Will, just mad cool under pressure, beautiful kid. Wild, for sure, like, you wouldn't want to find yourself having trouble with him, but if you were on his right side, he's beautiful. So we spent 4 days together, and he really showed me what it was. He was like a young kid who knew he was going to be running the club, and like his dad was like mad respected and feared, and like he just, you know, he was the guy I was going to play. And there was a big funeral. I went up and I was with him from Monday through Friday. And there's a big funeral happening. No, Monday through Thursday, there's a big funeral happening on the Saturday. And he wanted me to stay, and he said, dude, you want to know some biker stuff? You're never going to see anything like this funeral. Like the biggest motorcycle, you know, people in our club are going to be here from all over the world, yada, yada, yada. I had to go home. And he ended up getting murdered that day at that funeral, which is, you know, gave a sense of like, wow, this is like a real thing that we're, you know, sort of playing with here and representing and trying to bring to life, you know? And it really sort of like, obviously, it was impactful to me. I just spent a week with the kid, and a day later, he wasn't with us anymore. But coming back to the point that I was making about the sneakers, I get a lot of trouble from people telling me the bikers don't wear white sneakers. Well, let me tell you, Chill Will, the baddest, coolest biker I ever met in my life, wear Air Force Ones, white. He wear them for a week, and then he'd take them to a charity store and buy another box. Like he called them prison white, because you know, your sneakers stay really white in prison because you ain't got nowhere to get them dirty. So he called them prison whites. So that's why I wore the white sneakers.
That's great. All right, before we turn the time over to the audience, what do you think is the secret of the show's success?
I think, you know, when we first got called for it, I knew it would be a success because, you know, as a kid, you know, I was raised around stuff like all the gangsters, you know, and when we were in the car and I was little, and whoever club was next to us in the car, my mom would be like, don't look at him, you know, so we look straight, right? So what happened with this show is I think that you could actually live through you know, what they live like, we think they live like, without the comfort of your home, and not be scared and big from the outside looking in. So I think that's why it's successful, you know. So it was like Sopranos on wheels, you know.
Okay, we have a microphone that's set up right there. If you want to keep your questions brief, and that way we can get as many people as we can to ask questions. Let's get it rolling.
Huge fan of the show. I always used to describe it as Shakespeare on motorcycles. Considering that this is not like the TV shows and movies where people can come back, when you guys learned of Opie's death, how did that hit you?
Way to start it off.
We're gonna cry, bro, you know?
I think for all of us, we've said it before, it was the beginning of the end. It just felt like that, oh, this is not forever. This ends.
Right.
And it went really fast after he died. Before it felt like
And then he died, and then I felt, I mean, I love Opie's character, Ryan's character, and I still felt bad. Then 2 weeks later, him and his wife, my wife and Theo's wife, I got together, saw a movie, and I felt better again, you know what I mean? I knew he was alive. Cool, man.
Hi, so this question's for Charlie. I was a big fan of one of your previous shows, and I just want to know how you went from Nathan to Jax. I've seen that show first, and it was like when I was watching Sons, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, you know. there's sometimes characters that can really speak to you, and then some, you know, sort of immediately when you read it in the script, you go, oh, not only do I know this person, I feel like I am this person. That's kind of how I felt with Jax, you know, so I didn't really, you know, I had to do a bunch of work, you know, to get ready, but, you know, I didn't feel like it was a massive stretch. You know, some other things, Queer as Folk being one of them, particularly because it was my first really serious role and I had quite a lot of responsibility. You know, it felt like a real challenge. I don't know sort of specifically what was different between them, but it, you know, it's definitely a much bigger challenge for me doing Queer as Folk than I found doing Sandspanky. Thank you.
Alright, hey Charlie, this is for you. It's about Chill Will. Is it true that you like have a necklace or whatever that may have been given to you by him?
No, so Drea de Matteo had a bullet necklace that she had for something, some significance to it. And I saw it and I wanted to specifically wear something for Will in the show that I wanted to commit to wearing all the way through. And I didn't know if it was right or exactly wrong that I would wear a bullet for him. You can see, right, that's like, is that the right move or is it not the right move? But something told me that he would like it, you know? So I said, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. So I must say, I had actually pledged to give that to his father, Wild Will, and I've got to make good on that pledge because I still have it and he doesn't have it. Mainly because I haven't seen him since we finished, but thank you for the reminder. I'm going to make sure he gets that bullet.
That's awesome, thank you.
Right on, man.
Hi, I'm Rossi. Obviously, I love the show, but my question is there a show on TV right now that you wish you could be a part of?
Well, you could check out Shantaram on Apple starting October 14th. Yeah. That probably would be the show that I would choose to do. That's my new show, October 14th. Can't see if we get that.
I'm a huge Downton Abbey fan.
I watch kids shows.
Paw Patrol.
Yeah, I would
Put
love
me on Paw Patrol. I'm gonna guest star on Paw Patrol.
I watch my show is Family Feud, man, and I swear to God, I watch it every night, because I'm good at it, you know. We played, the Mayans went out there and played One Religion or True Religion. There's a group called, you know the group, One Religion? I don't know, we played them, but I wanted to play Sons of Anarchy. That would have been cool. I mean, so I got together with my PR people, so we're going to try to do a Mayans against SOA on Family Feud.
Good luck with Chips on Family Feud.
You're gonna have to make a choice. You're gonna have to make a choice which side of that party you fall on.
That's a good
Well,
question.
this whole plan just went out the window in 2 seconds.
Could be the both.
Very nice.
How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
Awesome. Emilio, Theo, Ryan, Charlie, thank you guys so much. And obviously, it goes without saying, we're all here for you. We appreciate the show. Thank you for doing what you do. Real quick question based on the Chill Will story, but also just generally, know that you work with Sonny Barger, with David Brava. Like, what has been your experience post-show, conclusion of the show, based on any information you might learn about real-life MC culture, and has that influenced or changed the way that you look at real-life MCs today?
I've been around gangsters all my life, brother, you know what I'm saying? So I've always respected, it's all about respect. If they respect me, I respect you. It's real simple. It's just gangster stuff is respect, brother. You know, you got that, you're gonna be okay. And I just spent some time with David LeBron last week in Wisconsin, so we had a great time, man. It's all about respect, though, you know?
Yeah, to me it's about the thing that we're all seeking in life, which is community and purpose and to belong to something. And At its heart, I found I was always sort of touched by how pure and sort of simple the instinct was, or the path that led those guys to being part of that. And you know, it's just human, it's so human and relatable. It's what we're all doing here, right? We all found a community. So many people I meet in these events say how many friends they have and you know, how they found their people coming to these events and stuff. And so I found like it was just so simple when you got to the center of what it was all about and just so relatable, you know? Which I think was probably why people liked the show, you know? Because I think, you know, Kurt's a really smart writer, and although it was to a world that to a lot of us seems sort of foreign, you know, actually it's all just about people and the struggles that we all go through.
So I was just wondering, what was your hardest scene to film, whether it be physically or emotionally? Besides all your good scenes.
No, see, those are easy. It's when a scene is not written particularly well, or you don't quite understand it, or you don't agree with it, then you sort of work hard as an actor. It is like the death scenes are great. You love those things. There's like lots of violence, or you're screaming, you're crying, that kind of stuff can, I mean, it can take its toll or whatever, but that's what we sign up for. It's when something isn't quite, you know, isn't quite working, and you can't figure out why it's not working. That's as an actor, that's where you sort of earn your money, so to speak. Is all of the stuff that you might think is like really hard for us is actually pretty easy. It's the stuff where you have to figure it out a lot. Those are the hard scenes.
So true, and like if it doesn't make sense at the moment, there's always this one that eats me because I just watched the full show for the first time, and I was telling Tig this. Like when Juice was on that complete downfall, there was a scene where he had this joke where he was like talking about Tig wearing shoe polish in his hair. And like I couldn't get it to work because it didn't work where it was, but you learned one thing on the show, you say what it is, right? Like that's just the way it goes. And I couldn't get it, and I remember you were so right. I was like, this doesn't work, it's misplaced, but you have to do it. And you know, you got it